Hi, and welcome to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation focused on youth mental health. Before we begin today's episode, I just wanted to let you all know that all content that is found in our podcast is created for informational purposes only. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or therapy. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard in this podcast. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started.
Welcome to Mindful, Beautiful, Thriving, a podcast by Tharika Foundation, where we share stories of resilience, hope, and mindful living for parents navigating life's challenges. Today, we have an inspiring guest, a devoted father who raised two beautiful daughters after losing his wife to leukemia 13 years ago. As an immigrant with limited support, he found strength in love, perseverance, and service. Today, he dedicates his life to humanitarian causes, supporting South Asian communities facing domestic violence, bringing leukemia awareness, and feeding the unhoused. His story is about turning personal loss into a powerful force for healing and helping others. I'm super excited to welcome Sim to this podcast. Welcome, Sim. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you, Poonam. Thank you for having me here. Thanks a lot. So my name is Narasimhan Gopalan, but I go by Sim Gopalan, and in short, to make it easy. I did come to this country in '92 to do my master's in computer science, and then moved to California from Texas in '94, and since then I've been working in the tech industry till about the COVID time in various roles as IT computer professional. So sometime during COVID, I got more involved with the nonprofit organizations and social causes. And so I thought I will get off my corporate job and follow my passion of working with nonprofits. So since then, I've been associated with several nonprofits, and I do consulting, and I'm a co-team member in various other nonprofits, and I work with domestic violence and mental health issues, and primarily finding solutions for leukemia patients by running stem cell drives and stuff. So that's all I do working with people. Thank you.
Thank you, Sim. That's all you do. Oh my God. You're touching many, many hearts and many lives. I wanted to know, can you take us back to the time before your wife's illness? I know it may be hard for you to go back in time. The reason I'm asking is because, it's hard, what you went through. So what was family life was for you, and what dreams did you have with your daughters? So to give more context to our audience.
Oh, definitely, Poonam. Thank you. I mean, it was a normal, usual immigrant family, a South Asian Indian family. I have two daughters, and both of them were into dance, music, and and so we spent all the time. I and my wife, both of us, enjoyed watching their performances, taking them to all the events, and then, of course, going around theme parks. And both of us were working in the tech industry, and so spent all the time going out for dinners and happy weekends and some park or the other taking it. It was a usual thing where, and both my daughters were learning both classical dance and Bollywood dance. So we would just participate in all those. They would participate in all the events. So we'd go enjoy, and most weekends are spent in all those things. Yeah.
So, Sim, when did you come to know about your wife illness, and what was your first reaction, and how did you get that strength to move forward? with the reality?
Yeah, this was in 2010. Sometime in 2010, she was complaining of headache, and she is somebody who would never sit quiet. Even if she's running a 105 fever, she'll be in the kitchen. She loved to cook, so she would be active. She was very active. She would never sit and watch TV or anything. So she complained of headache, and I was concerned. I said, let's go to the doctor. And she was, of course, resistant. But we did go to the doctor, and then it took a while for about 2 or 3 weeks. Even before the doctors were diagnosing things, they would just give uh, Advil for her to take, was there. And when I was on a visit to Germany, I was on a work business trip to Germany. And that's when one morning she was throwing up and she felt very sick. My daughter texted me saying, Mommy is sick, and can you just talk to her and see? I'll keep the phone next to her. And then she went to school. Somebody in the neighborhood picked them up, and she went to school. I spoke to my wife, and then she was throwing up a lot. And finally insisted she go to the doctor, and then there was help. One of her friends took her to the doctor, and that's when they diagnosed, when they ran the blood test, they found that she had leukemia. So meanwhile, while the tests were going on, I came back. I cut my trip short, and then I came back. And then the world started going upside down, because I was already involved in the cause. I was running stem cell drives for years even before that. So I ran my first stem cell drive in 94. And little did I know it'll come knocking in my door. And then she was diagnosed. Yes, and it was a very aggressive form of leukemia she had. It was there are two common types, AML or ALL. In her case, she had traits of both. So the treatment options were very limited. Of course, the aggressive treatment started off soon after that, and we tried to run several stem cell drives to find a donor, potential donor. It was very difficult to find a donor. By the time we found a donor, she had a lung infection which had progressed much, and she was being treated at Stanford at that time. She had to go through a transplant, even though she was not a good candidate for transplant, but there was no other option. And about 3 weeks after that, she succumbed to the infection. So yes, it was devastating. And the last 2 weeks, when she was put on ventilator, there was a time where she had to be put on ventilator, and 48 hours after, the doctors wanted me to make a decision. So it was a very, very difficult period. Her parents were both doctors, and they were in India. And her brother was also in India, who was taking care of the parents. Then it was a very difficult decision, because I was told that I have to make the decision, but I had to get everybody into that. And all my family were in India too. I don't have any other blood relations here. There were a lot of friends who came to help me. That was definitely a blessing. And they were all there together to take care of the kids and other things. But it was hospital, go to the hospital, come back and pick the kids up in the evening, morning, drop them off at school, and then go to the hospital. That is how I was those 10, 11 months. I was literally working from the hospital, and was a very, very difficult period. Finally, we had to make a decision, and the day was fixed that we had to take off the life support, and was not easy. So the previous night, you were asking me how I went through that. One of the reasons was the previous night, I was just lying in bed with both my daughters. They were 8 and 12. Aditi was 12 and Anuda was 8. So we were talking about that. I had explained to them everything, and they had even come to the hospital to see the mom earlier. and I just kept them updated on what's going on and what to expect and stuff like that. So at that time, 12-year-old Aditi was telling her sister, you know what, there was a period in the past, a couple of years back, her mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So at that time, my wife had gone to India for 3 months to take care of them. And so I was taking care of the kids here. So she was telling her sister, saying that, Anula, those 3 months we spent alone without mommy. So let us just keep living like that, every 3 months, this. And I'm like, oh my God, you're 12-year-old saying that. That was something like she's literally telling me how to live the rest of the life like that. And so those things, their resilience and the way they dealt with it. And I had people around. I had it's like family. My family were all my friends then. They were with me. We used to have that doctor-patient meeting. In that, they encourage only the family of the patient, and all these doctors, about 4 or 5 doctors, sit around you and then keep telling you that you have to make a decision. In my case, I had 10, 12 people in the room because I told them these are my family, so they will be there. So they were there. Oh, I did have people around me, and that was a huge support. So that's kind of how I did. And one more thing is, a few months before that, I was listening to Bhagavad Gita. I had just completed listening to Bhagavad Gita for the third time in my life. So I think that helped me a lot during that period to have that thought process as to what to expect in life, and how things lead to, and how we don't know. We can't expect what's going to happen to any of us. So I decided after that, I said, okay, my wife, even though she had parted from this thing, but I always considered she lives with me. She's part of me. So I keep saying that I'm the mom, I'm the dad, and she's here throughout. So that way we just continued on, and the girls were amazing. They did most of the part, I should say, in there. So that's kind of what the girls and my extended family, that's the friends here, were real help to move forward.
Thank you, Sim, for sharing your whole story. A lot of things are coming in my mind. The first learning is do not ignore, anything going on in your body. Listen to your body. If you're happy, healthy, and out of sudden you're experiencing headache or any aches or pain, it's a good idea to double check, right? And the second part, build your community from the very beginning. It's not like when you need, you will build, right? Like I always say, if you are thirsty and you think you can dig a well, that time it's not going to happen. So the way, you are sharing your story, what you went through, if your family was not, like they were certainly not here, but your friends became your family, right? They uplifted you, they supported you, they were there when you needed it. So that was my second learning. And the third learning, what you explained, the Bhagavad Gita, right? Like the karma we need to keep doing. We do not know what's coming in the future, right? The soul is on a journey. Who is born will leave body someday. We don't know when, but that mental resilience is needed. And that's what you exhibited here. And as you said, your daughters were also an inspiration to you, and they were telling, how to, yeah, there is a vacuum and there is a big, gap in like the family, but they became your strength. But I wanted to ask you one thing. Did you ask for any help, like because what you went through, that emotional trauma or mental health or physically also, I'm sure it was not easy what you went through. So did you ask for additional help from any professional, or you dealt with everything yourself?
Yes and no. I did have a couple sessions with the psychologists there. But most part, I would say that did help. I mean, that's what I recommend people to go to therapy and do that too. That helped a lot. But what really helped me more was sharing with people. I mean, I would sit there in the hospital cafeteria and people sitting around me, I tell them, just share anything with me. Tell me anything. It's okay, right? Whether I go ahead and do that or not is different, but please feel free to share. So they would give me their opinions and then I would take in. There were a lot of data points that way. I never hesitate to share what I was feeling about thing. It was always like sharing, and I never hesitate to cry in public. I would not just hide my tears. I felt like crying, I would cry and I will share, I will talk. And being emotional was something which I never felt that I had to hide. It was a normal thing. So it was mostly sharing with people and then talking with people helped a lot. In fact, there are a couple people, and especially one, I would say my sister by association, I call her. And so I would share anytime I felt depressed, or of course during the grief period, I'll pick up the phone and call, or at night times I would send texts. I would be sending texts or that as to just taking off everything off my chest, whatever I felt. I did not care much about what the other people would judge me because I thought it was all in my head. The judgment is there. That's okay. And that way I had a lot of support. I never hesitated to talk to people about this. I never hesitated to tell. And I just encourage, talk about her. That's fine. Because that is one thing sometimes people, when they meet me, they would just be hesitant to say, how do I ask this person? Would he feel sad? Sometimes when my daughters were performing and when I cried, others would be like, oh my God, Sim, please don't cry. It was okay to cry. It was okay to have those emotions and go through with that. That's there. Of course, for my daughters at that time, I really had to keep the smile on most of the time, and then I would send them off to places they wanted to visit. They took a trip to the East Coast by themselves, 8 and 12 at the time, and they took a trip to India. They took a trip to Australia. All this they did. So it was sort of like I was trying to make it look like, yes, we will continue. We'll march forward. We are there for each other. And there are people for us. We are not alone.
Thank you,
Yes.
Sim. I'm so glad, like you, I'm also an open book. I do not care what people think or judge. I'm a person who is ready to share. And I think there is strength in sharing and even asking for help, to be honest. That's what my experience says. But I wanted to ask you this question, because you brought up your daughters. Now they're grown up, 22 and 26. And what values do you hope they carry forward from your journey?
I mean, like I mentioned to you, it was while my wife was going through this, they lived through that experience too. Of course, at that point, they wouldn't have understood. It would have been more confusing as to what was their stuff. But when they watched me go through that, they, in fact, a lot of times I would say, I would be very confused as to whether I'm taking care of them or they're taking care of me, because they would just protect me from things there. They would smile. They would try to make me feel good, and I try to make them feel good. And that way. I thought they were more resilient, and they were to that. And I tried not to anything. I wanted them to have an open communication to me, whether whatever happens, positive or negative, anything in their life. So they would share everything to me, however difficult the situation is. They pick up the phone, text, and share, whether it is at school or with boyfriends or any of those situations. Those things. And both of them were very involved in running these drives. Both of them run the drives, and they work in a lot of community service. In fact, my younger daughter went to something called a Camp Kesam, where she was taking care of kids whose parents were going through cancer situations, and so they go through these difficult situations. So she was there trying to take care of them and do all those stuff which she had been in the past in that situation. And my older daughter Aditi also, she went to a camp where to take care of kids who were grieving, lost somebody close to them, and do that. So they are pretty involved in the community by themselves. And one thing what I kind of hope they do, and then I'm pretty sure they are, is anytime either in their professional life or personal life they fall down, they just say get up and run again. There is nothing is a worse situation or problem at all, and somehow get involved in some social cause or the other. So you know the other world, you know what people are going through. That helps a lot. So those are the things I kind of expect, and I'm sure that they are growing into that, and they help me a lot, and they are like take care of me a lot, I should say.
I'm so glad to hear that, Sim. I'm sure the great work you are doing for community, they are getting that inspiration and they will continue to do what they started with you long time back. So I wanted to ask you another question. You have chosen to devote your life to humanitarian causes, as I mentioned in the beginning, domestic violence awareness, leukemia awareness, even feeding the unhoused. How has service helped you heal personally? Because what you went through is not easy, and I'm sure wounds were very deep, but you devoted your life, I would say, rather, you found your purpose. So I'm sure it helped you, but I wanted to hear from you how you think it helped you.
Definitely, it has helped a lot, I should say. Because when I'm touched by all these people, I go in there and I feed those. For instance, feeding food to those people, you see that hungry, and then they know when they see this good food and take it. I just watch their face, and it gives me that fulfillment. Oh my God, I'm able to do something little there for them. And people with domestic violence situations, when they call and then talk to me, I refer them to the concerned organizations, and I be there for them. And patients who are suffering from leukemia, their families, and others. When all this go on, when I keep talking to them frequently, sometimes it appears to others. People have asked me, saying that, Sim, you're talking to all these people, and it is sad story because quite a few of the people, patients, and families I work with, they may not make it, right? They pass, and then so many times I had to go for the funeral visits, and so many things like that happen. So they say that when you do this, won't you be reminded of what you went through with for your wife? I said, yes. I mean, that is something which, whether I do this or not, I am going to be reminded of that throughout my life. That grieving, that feeling, that emotion, everything is going to be there with me. No doubt, I would definitely miss her, no doubt. But every time I work with these people, I adopt any person I work with, I adopt them as my own family. So when you have that, I see that my family is just expanding that way. And me being there for them gives me that peace, that I'm able to share their pain. I'm able to share their thing. I may get emotional, that's okay, but I don't see that emotion as a negative emotion as such. It is that sense of being there for someone else. So the moment I adopt everybody else, I feel that the world adopts me. I never hesitate to ask for help, like you mentioned. Anytime, any help, any kind, I don't hesitate to ask for. And I introduced my girls to all these people, so they were free to discuss things with aunts too. In fact, soon after my our wife's thing, I had been advised by quite a few people to say, Sim, you can't take care of two girls. You're a man. I think you have to go back where your mother is there and you have a family in India. They would take care of. It's not easy to take care of the girls. So I had never felt that I'm alone. So I said, all these people are there for me. And so even though I came, I cooked for them, and I cooked for them weekends, I cooked for them on weekdays. I came, I took them to school, dropped them to school, picked them up from school. So even though I took care of them, I never hesitated to pick the phone up and say, neither did the girls never hesitated to ask somebody else for help, because there are so many things which I realized later what they went through, they did not want to share with me because they didn't want me to feel sad. So those things I did. I mean, it was kind of more reciprocative that way. So they did have someone to talk to. It's not only the dad here, and so they were protecting me from several things, and they were taking care of me. I was taking care of them, and the world was taking care of us. So that is how I see that. So that way,
Beautiful.
service did help. I mean, talking to all these people and going through what they were going through is like having a family, and the sense of belonging gives me that peace, and in a sense that kind of an happiness that we are a huge family. We don't have to, nobody need to go through that alone by themselves. So it is like therapy for me. It has helped me both in my mental, my physical as well as my emotional health.
Thank you, Sim. I was thinking giving is receiving, as you like I'm asking you giving to others, but you are telling me how you received in turns rather multifold, and you
Right.
expanded your family, and you know that you are not alone. There are many, many people there. That belonging is there. That community is there. Beautiful, beautiful. I wanted to ask you. Do you practice gratitude or mindfulness, or because i I have also gone through a lot in my life, but the gratitude practice and mindfulness definitely helped me through tough times and shaped me actually. um, because you can see why I'm doing these podcast recordings, because of my life, that journey I went through. But do you do any special practices to go through daily life, or the what things you went through?
Oh yes, yes. To some extent, I mean, I did practice Sudarshan Kriya in the past, and then meditation. And I grew up in a conservative family earlier, so some yoga, some meditation, and mindfulness in that sense. Yes. So on and off, I won't say that I'm a regular practicer, but on and off, I just do. Meditation and doing all these things. And gratitude is a term I like a lot. Gratitude and empathy, right? I feel that gratitude, that's the word which is more important. So in every transaction, every interaction, I just start practicing that gratitude. I mean, it's like every person, when we were going through this, somebody would knock at my door and say, Sim, I brought you food. I won't even know their name. I didn't even know their name. I didn't even know. So there were so many people there who I don't know their name even till today, and they came in there. So it's like that sense of belonging there when people had come, and in that gratitude I have for them. I say that it is in me, and I always feel that I should be in debt. I don't want to clear that debt. I don't want to feel that, oh my God, how do I repay them or not? No, I'm not even going to make an attempt to repay anybody, because I just want to go till the end with the dead. That way I have that gratitude towards all these people who did that. And it is much easier to carry it forward without expectation. I don't care whether somebody who you help is not acknowledging you or not. That doesn't matter at all, because of all this gratitude. Yes, that gratitude definitely is had played a very important role for me, and try to shape, and then I'm trying to become more empathetic, and mainly because of the feeling of gratitude towards anybody who does that. I also tell the girls and others to say, anytime we feel sore about somebody, rather than saying, I hate that person, you just say that I hate what they did or I hate what they told, not that individual. So that way it is attached to those issues, that right of thing. And somehow we build up that gratitude towards people who had been in your life for something or the other. Yes, that
And
did help.
absolutely, that attitude of gratitude, and even science has shown us when you are thinking about the gratitude, you can be stressed, rather you because you're
Exactly.
counting your blessings, right? So
Right.
I know time is also a limit. So I wanted to ask for our listener, inspired by your story, what small steps can they take to care for themselves and also extend compassion to others in need as you are doing?
Okay, definitely. Yes. I mean, caring for themselves is very, very important. I say that I don't have selflessness in my dictionary. I don't say there is nothing like selfless. Every person, every action. If we take care of our body, I would say that is a selfless act, depending on how you say. So taking care of your children is a selfless act. So I always say that the first thing is take care of your health, both your physical and emotional health. That takes priority first. It's like they say in the airplanes, put the mask to yourself first before you do it for the kids or something. So health, and then I say that take care of the spouse next, and then comes the kids, and after that only everything else, the world. So that doesn't mean when you can do all this in parallel, it is easier to do. Sometimes we feel that taking care of the world, I mean, some community service or stuff like that, we don't have time because I have to run behind my children and I have to take care of my work, I have to take care of my health and stuff like that. So I think in this priority, if you just it is just a mind share which is needed. So there are people who will have to take care of their family, cook and take care of the kids and go to work and do that. So the time may not be sufficient to think about others. But I would really, really suggest everybody to have some mind share to at least go through. It could be a small WhatsApp message. See, most of the issues I deal with people is it is someone who had sent me a WhatsApp message saying, Sim, somebody is going through this. Would you be able to help? That's all. So that is their part. And I try and connect them to somebody else. So it's a very small part which takes a few seconds, but the thought of helping someone is there, and the thought that there is another world over there, and there are people who are going through difficulty. When we learn about others' misery or difficulty, it doesn't mean that we feel miserable, or it doesn't mean that we have to feel sad. We just feel contented that we know that there is a world there, and let us do what small part we can do. I mean, I don't expect people to do what I am doing because I have the time and I have that passion and I work with that. But everybody can just at least do small part. When you know that there is a world what people are going through, then it lessens your worries as well, because you say you're not alone in this world, and there are people with much more issues. There are people. It's like when you see. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. My daughter, the 12-year-old, said along with this one, she mentioned that when we go to India that same night, when we go to India, we see a lot of kids who come and ask for money. Sometimes we give them, sometimes we don't even look at them, we walk past. I wonder how many of those kids don't have both the parents, and they don't have money, they don't have a place to live, and they don't have both the parents. That way we are blessed. Right? I mean, that just hit me here, and that was one great motivation. And that's sort of what I go with, as to see there are people who are going through worse than us. So let us be there for each other, and that lessens our concerns and our worry, our emotional health too.
Absolutely same. Even I tell that to myself, nobody's life is perfect. Ups and
Right.
downs are part of our life journey. And what you were mentioning, a thought came to my mind. The life I am leading today, that is dream of so many people, and I'm still complaining. Even God will be laughing, She doesn't know much about, what's going on around the world. And you're absolutely right, expanding your horizon, helping others, listening to their stories, giving them that listening ears, helping hands, right? We can do at least that much. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Your story is a reminder that while life may bring unimaginable loss, resilience and service can turn grief into growth. You have shown us that caring for our health and giving back to our communities are not separate paths, but deeply connected. To all our listeners, let's remember to nurture our own well being while also being present for those in need. This balance is what allows us to live a life that is truly mindful, beautiful, and thriving. Once again, thank you, Sim, for sharing your inspiring journey with us. A lot of blessings to you and your family.
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you for having me here. Thanks a lot.
You are listening to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation. As part of our youth series, we will be releasing new episodes every month, so make sure to continue to check those out. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we thank you so much for listening.